Well, Merrick, episode 28 of Heart for Excellence.
28, yes.
20. It's going quick, ain't it?
Yeah.
But it's so cool to be here with Jason today, and I'm going to let you introduce him because you've connected. But before we do that, something we're grateful for, and I'm going to hand it off to you. What's one thing?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for putting me on the spot.
For?
You know, one thing that I'm grateful for is a night of sleep. And it's really such a basic thing, but I remember many times in my life when there were stretches of weeks or months at a time where I could not sleep. And maybe I sleep like an hour or two. But yet now that I'm on this journey of entrepreneurship, I don't know where the next paycheck comes from. The weird thing is I'm getting a lot of sleep because of that peace internally. And so I'm just internally blessed for the fact that I can go to sleep and have a nightful rest because inside of me there's that peace.
Powerful. Thank you.
It's the Holy Spirit, man. That's awesome.
Amen.
Jason.
Well, based on our previous conversations, what led to this right now, before this, I would have to say my wife and the peace that she brings. So, you said peace, that we keep talking about that, but having a peaceful wife allows for me to have a peaceful life. And I'm thankful for that. So I'm humble.
Beautiful.
And grateful.
Yeah. And by the way, there's not a gun underneath the table.
Yeah.
For the record.
Guys, for me, it's my daughters. We've had quite a up and down through the divorce. Kids get put in the middle. And so having the opportunity to have time with them now and relationship with them is such a beautiful thing. So I'm so grateful for the time I get to spend with both Emily and Jade and keep building our relationship. So I'm grateful for that. So with that, Merrick, I was thinking you can introduce our guest today.
So our very special guest today is Jason. I've only had a pleasure of knowing Jason for a couple of weeks now since the advance. Obviously, there's a much thing I can say about Jason, but I'm a kind of a visual person, so the image that comes to my mind when I see Jason is connector. I mean, we had a coffee about a week ago, and since then, Jason connected me with two fantastic men. Like, kind of going back to the idea of the events, when I used to live in Woodlands, and I didn't realize that all these amazing men existed. Yeah. I moved to down south to Friendswood, and I was like, man, I'm just so bummed to leave all these awesome people that I met in Woodlands, and then it just seems like I'm moving across the state because it's such a long distance.
It's a long ways.
And so Jason, thank you so much. I've already met two wonderful people because of you. Mm-hmm. And it just the fact of the matter is that it's just the simplest way I can describe it. It's like it seems to be like people just gravitate towards you. So thank you for being that connector that I was able to get plugged in and the friendships that I'm already establishing because of your influence.
Wonderful.
And the one thing that one of the main things that we'd like to discuss on this particular episode is your experience with discipleship. So you have a wonderful testimony. Mm-hmm. And so we're wondering if you can just talk to us about the discipleship and the power and the difference that it made in your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Again, thanks for having me, guys. When you get the chance or the opportunity to talk about your faith or your experience or your walk, you always have a tendency or a desire to hope that you're going to get it right. I have this chance. Hopefully, if one guy needs this and hears it, hopefully I can get it right. And then, which is actually funny because ironically, you start thinking about what you have to do, which is like before Christ, right? So before Christ, it was like, how do I make this impactful? Even jotted a couple notes down, and then after I was done with it, I said, God, you're going to do what you're going to do with this. So it doesn't really matter. So, and so learning to define or to change or to shift your mind to allow it to say, okay, God, it really is up to you, has probably been a defining moment and an experience for me. So hopefully I do get something right, today, but we're going to put it in God's hands. And I appreciate you guys giving me a window of time to share the story. So, so I'll just give you guys a quick backdrop because I do believe everybody comes to the Lord, and it's up to the Lord on how they get there. It's a unique journey. It's an experience. He's placed us through all the things that we've been through for a reason, and then He calls you to do that work in whatever ministry field that would be. And I think He did that. I mean, having heard your story, I mean, God took you down that path of discovery to put you in these chairs today for a reason, right? To have this on your heart. So, quick backdrop. I come from a single family household raised by a mom. I do have a loving father, I have a wonderful father, but during that time of life, he had been out distance. So we didn't really have a bonded or close relationship at all. He lived quite a bit away, and saw him intermittently, but never struggled in the sense that it wasn't one of those like abusive, bad. I grew up in a really, really great environment. Actually, I have Holly, and this is if I cry anytime, that's just who I am. So just get ready.
No worries.
But when I talk about her, I think about my mom. She's the most amazing woman. It's ironic that you would spend your whole life as a boy going, okay, Mom, you're done. Mom, this. Mom, thinking I don't want anything to do with this woman. And then now at 40, I can't get enough of her. It's a constant pursuit of when am I going to see you again? How talk to her on a regular basis because I just love her. And then all these characteristics that I was looking for from a man, right? Like these behavioral things that I was in search of were in front of me the whole time from a woman. She worked 3 jobs, loved on people, serves others. It was just amazing. And I'll talk more about that experience having learned about Jesus. But so I grew up with her. Like I said, we didn't have a lot, but we had enough. We had Spam. You can live on Spam, right? Wieners, if people remember the store Wieners, there's a place called Wieners.
I like Wieners.
Yeah, where you get the Nikes and then you would get the little check and you write the check mark on it so it looked more like a Nike swoosh or something, So we had a lot of fun growing up. I never felt like I wanted anything. I was just humbled and grateful to have a wonderful life. Because of the lack of male role model, I think all males start to seek that. And so growing up, a little dude, I learned that to get attention or observation from others, it was really centered around my ability to engage. So my ability to make people laugh, to connect, that's how I made friends. And so, and it worked well. I wasn't afraid to talk to people, and I'm thankful for that. It was just a gift early on. Always put me on camera. Yay. I was that guy.
We got the right guy,
So I had a blast. So fast forward, I'm going through this walk, and then every male gets to a point where the hormones and stuff start kicking in, and then you just go bananas. It happens to women, it happens to men, happened to me. And then I really couldn't play sports. I remember going to play sports because I didn't grow up throwing a football or baseball and stuff. So I remember being embarrassed the first couple times I came out. Went to a track meet. I think in our school there was no real good athletes from a speed perspective. So I think they signed me up for high hurdles. I'm like a midget, But it's only because we weren't really competitive, so it was like a throwaway event. And I remember running the high hurdle event, getting blown away so bad. They're like, all right, well, we got the second heat. And I walked up to the bleachers, grabbed my mom, and walked out. I was like, I'm not doing that again. So, and that's how bad of an athlete I was. So I remember sitting home one day, and then a neighbor came in, and they moved in across the street, and he had an older sister, and I was like, ooh. And in order to be cool with them, I started hanging out with them, and that's when I first got introduced to marijuana. Actually, let's just say this. I hope I don't run for office someday. My wife laughs because she thinks I'd be a great politician. I'm like, not after this podcast. It's going to be out there. If anything ever comes up, it's like, hey, just go watch that Love podcast. Jason told everybody all this dirt. But in reality, I stepped out and started experimenting with drugs and stuff. Found out that I liked it a lot, and so then I became kind of the bad kid. And so now I had attention, but I actually got a lot of attention from girls from being the bad kid. So once I used to get attention, but girls kind of then you become a bad kid, and all of a sudden they kind of like you, And so I got in a lot of trouble, made a lot of poor life decisions. Ultimately, ended up in and out of doing some bad things, and then grew into kind of an early young man. So I about 18, 17, all I wanted to do is get out of the house and go, right? I found fitness. So, and I think inside of fitness, I was able to start working out. So, instantly got absorbed with that. I went from, I wasn't really an athlete, but I'm a bad kid. I can, chicks kind of like that. And then, I've got muscles. And now they really like that.
Oh, wow.
I fell into this job at 24 Hour Fitness, and I tell the story because I want you guys to understand what drove me. I fell into this story at 24, this job at 24 Hour Fitness, and all of a sudden now I'm in this environment where I can make a lot of money. I'm buff. There's chicks everywhere. I still got drugs and partying, It's like a nightclub atmosphere, if you can imagine a gym 20 years ago. It feels like a nightclub every day, but anybody comes in and out of your gym, so you start to know these people. You got a good personality, you're kind of young, you're making a ton of money. So life became really cool.
Yeah.
And so I started like having this huge trajectory. And what I learned early on was, wait a minute, if I can get attention, and then this job rewarded success. So all of a sudden I saw awards. And so there were contests, and I wanted to win contests. So I think I won, and my career there, right? If there was a contest, I won it. And I mean that. And I don't mean it like obnoxiously. I mean it like I set records. I went out and I just was like, people still know me from my time there. I set a lot of records, spent a lot of time, and I would pursue everything from a success perspective. I love the attention. I wanted all those things. And all the while I was this golden child, I mean, it blows people's minds when they know me. They had no idea that I would like go home from being this hyper successful dude during the day, and then I would just party like a rock star downtown. I'd loft downtown, 2 cars, bring girls home from the club every night, everything you can imagine. So I always tell people, if you were to like go and watch every movie and then consolidate that movie into like something that was a rated R film into like one show, that was my life for like 5 years. I mean, it was like the Boiler Room and the Wolf of Wall Street and all this stuff, and then all that in the gym. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I say cool at the time, right?
Yeah.
But so I've learned the flesh in a big way. So what happened is I got married. I moved up. I got this house. I get promoted. I'm running my area. I get married. I've got this hot wife. She's into fitness. We're traveling. We're winning trips. I mean, life is good, right? Got my area. Everything that I thought was supposed to be good. But all I had from the role models and men were great dudes. And I still love them. My best man at my wedding, still my best friend. Love him to death. But all I saw was work, get stuff done, and things and stuff in the world, man. And I was like, dude, that's what it is. All of a sudden, fast forward, I remember when my daughter was born, and the minute my daughter came out of my life, I'm sitting there, and I remember holding her, and I couldn't get her out of my hands because my arm was paralyzed from holding her. I couldn't let go of her.
Wow.
And then, and instantly, I had this crushing feeling. Like, because before, nothing really mattered. It was I used to say, cashing checks and snapping necks, man. I was like, let's make money. That's it. Now I have a thing I have to take care of, And I'm like, this is really scary.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do about it. So I was supposed to take a week off. I took 2 days off. Instantly called in my mom, the support team, all the staff to, y'all need to step in and help start taking care of my wife. I got to go back out and, I got an area to run. So I was just freaked out. Like, I got to do stuff. So all of a sudden I got absorbed with just trying to protect everything.
Yeah.
Like, I got to make sure I protect all this stuff that I've worked for. I got my house, got my stuff, got my wife. So naturally, instinctively, right, a woman doesn't bode well for a mother, right? Like, oh, here, by the way, here, take the kid. I got to go. So I was actually doing stuff that I had not realized at an early age, not being there. And kind of just showing up to pay the bills and be there at night, you might as well just not be there, right? But I had no idea. So there's this huge conflict. And now fast forward, boom, I take a little step back in my career to kind of try to see if we could work on things. But that stuff was broke, right?
How old are you at this point?
I'm 30.
At that point, okay.
Yeah. Well, 33 when things stepped back. 30 when stuff started happening. 33 when things stepped back. So fast forward, right? Because we're on limited time, but what ended up happening was I couldn't really identify it, but I'm not happy. I keep thinking it's my career. I keep telling my wife at the time, like, I'm going to try this. Maybe we'll start investing in this. Maybe we start doing it. So, dude, you got to find something and just be happy. Yeah. But I'm not happy. I don't get it. I couldn't figure it out. Well, so now, fast forward, we go to this stage in our life where we're just roommates. I mean, it's bad, right? Yeah. I'll be very candid. I made some poor life decisions along the way in our marriage, and those came back to haunt me. And then the two of us, I shouldered a lot of the blame, but at the same time, it was my ex-wife. We weren't bound in Christ. We had no guidelines. We had no rule book to follow. So we were doing. You take two broken people, put them in a relationship, hope that they can figure it out and do it on their own. Nope. Kind of screwed. Yeah. So marriage starts taking a nosedive. We're not doing very well. And again, let me also say, she's a wonderful mother and a wonderful woman. Right? And at the same time, she thinks I'm a great guy, but we're straight up roommate. business partners. There's no togetherness there. So that thing starts to take a crumble. And again, I'm looking for a job, looking for, what's next? How do I get to the next thing? And then about 4 years ago, I took my first step into the financial world, the world of entrepreneurship. And I took a step out. And then during that time, that same week that I was literally going to go get this opportunity, that week prior, or the same week of, she decided to leave. Mm-hmm. Right? So, when you're in the flesh, you're like, oh, now you go, right? Now when I need you, of course you're going to bail out. Blah, 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 blah.
Typical woman,
yeah. Yeah, typical woman.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what she did is she actually had the courage to say, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And let me backtrack. For about a year or two prior, I had come to the realization that maybe if I started going to church, I would be able to fix my marriage. So here's the funny thing. So, of course, being an A-type, right, I'm a doer. So when I show up to church, I'm like, okay, wait, time out. So hold up. You guys do like Bible studies? I was like, all right. Well, they're like, yeah, do you want to be a part of one? I'm like, no, I'm going to lead one. What are you talking? No, I'm not lying, right? I've never been to church, right? I'm like, I watched a couple episodes. Now I'm a pro, right? Like I'm like,
I know what's up.
This is easy.
Oh man,
yeah, right. I'm like looking at quotes, like how to be like, what do you say to your wife to make her do what you want, but on God's terms? Ephesians. Huh. It says you're supposed to respect it. Maybe if you read the Bible, maybe our marriage would be fine. Like, I mean, it was that bad, right?
How'd that work for you?
Really bad. Right? So, by the way, note to self, guys, if you're just getting into this thing, do not use God as a weapon. And it's so funny because really that's how and the ironic thing is my distaste for the church had always been this assumption that these people were hypocritical. Mm-hmm. Because I had experienced that in my youth. I had actually walked into a church strung out on drugs, literally looking for help, and I got shunned. Right outside my high school, roaming around high. I walk into a church and these people look at me like I'm the dirt of the earth. So I was like, I don't really need this stuff. Yeah. And I was good with it. I never hated it. I showed up at the church stuff, but I was like, y'all are a bunch of, then you see it on the TV. You're like, oh, yeah, some guy's in the church. Some dude's playing with little boys. Some guy's got a bunch of money but doesn't give back. So you're just thinking this is just that church. All these people are liars. Yeah. And then here I am telling my wife, like, I'm really not a great husband, but I'm like doing all the Bible stuff saying, okay, well, I'm doing all the stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So when she left, I'm like, I just refuse to believe it. Now, fast forward, it's not getting better, right? Everything's kind of coming and crashing down. It's screwing my confidence. Yeah. I come out the gates as an entrepreneur, and I'm killing it. My first 6 months, I walk in, there's a production meeting. I'm one of the top producers in the state. Wow. Like, I've made top 10 life insurance sales guys in the state my first year as a rookie. Wow. The guy thinks I'm like the king, the man. I'm the man. Yeah. I'm like, I got this. I'm telling her, we're going to be fine. I'm walking into counseling sessions going, she's out of her mind. We're good, Yeah. And then, like, I'll never forget, during this time, though, I'm trying to seek God, right? And then, so what ends up happening is I end up going through the process, and then my spirit just gets disrupted. It doesn't work, and I don't get it. And now I'm just pissed at God. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm doing all the crap that I was supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. Why is this not fixed? So what's weird is she left. And I'll never forget, she called me, and she just said, I'm done. I'm just done. I had, like, I couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, all these deals and everything just starts falling apart around me. All the deals I was working on, falling apart. Man. I hit this, like, plateau, and everything just starts crumbling. I've got money leaking out. I'm trying to put money into my business. We're separating assets. And, again, all amicable. It's not like a whoa, pity. Thank God. The way it went down was actually, I'm humbled and grateful that we have a great relationship. Everything went wrong. But I realized that here I am. I'm almost 40 or 30 or almost 40. I'm getting to 40. And everything that I had ever wanted, which was a family, like the white picket fence, family trips, and, all this worldly view of what I had built, of what I was going to get to as a man someday, was gone. Yeah, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, 50% custody, with my kid, money out of the bank account, sitting there going to myself, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then now, and I always say that was a me life, and then it became the he life about him, right? So he's got me where he needs me, and this is why I talk about the power of discipleship, because that's when, and it's so crazy because that's when God put a man in my life. I'm at church one day. There's a dude that I always saw there. I saw him at the gym. Okay, great guy. His name's Kerry. Love him to death. Kerry's got just full of joy. So I just approached him. I'm like, I want to spend time with you, dude. Like, you seem cool. You told me you've had a divorce and you seem to have your life together. Like, let's spend time together. Well, what ends up happening is through Carrie, we end up in a Bible study. And then in that Bible study, I get peeled aside by a guy that couldn't have been better equipped for me at this moment in my life. Mm-hmm. None of the same crap that I've got, but he's the kind of guy that wouldn't take up... Pardon my... I'm sorry. Sorry.
You have to bleep it out.
Yeah, you have to bleep that out. But he's the kind of guy that wouldn't take that from me.
Yeah.
He was like... he held me accountable, but then what happened was... I said, God, I need help. And he put this man in my life. What I didn't understand was what to expect, right? I said, okay, I'll meet with you, but we got to figure this thing out. So he starts just spending time in the Word. We started going through this thing called Operation Timothy. It's a 4-series book, and each phase is starting to teach me about the Word. But what he started holding me accountable to was stuff that I couldn't understand. He's like, look, he's like, do you want to have a relationship with God? I said, well, yeah. I mean, it seems to, I don't know what else to have, dude. Like, I don't even know. I've tried everything else.
Yeah.
I'll try it. So he said, okay, well, then we're going to work on listen to the gospel. So, but then he starts trying to just love on me, man. I mean, it was the weirdest thing because at first you're like, what's wrong with this dude? Mm-hmm. Like, right? Like, is he hitting on me? Like, is this going to get weird?
Is he going to ask me for a credit card?
Yeah, right. Like, is he going to try to sell me a book series? Like, how much do the books cost? How much you going to go through? Like, what's happening? Are there vitamins attached to this? Like, what are you doing? But he just wanted to be there, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he just starts showing up. Well, all of a sudden, I'm seeing this man who just loves. Mm-hmm. But he's not judging me, and he's like making all. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Well, then what's happening is with my desire to serve and understand, I'm wanting to please this man now.
Yeah.
Right? So all my desire to be brought in, I'm wanting to please this, but just like a dad.
Yeah. So why don't we just pause over here right now, Jason? So we're just gonna leave it right here.
Okay.
And so that way, and then we'll pick it up right next on the
that's episode. A good stopping point.
Okay. So you guys, please tune in for the next episode, and Jason will continue his wonderful story. Thank you so much, Jason, for being open. Time flies when you're having fun.
This is good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that will relate to this.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jason. So let's pick it up on the
All right.
episode.
Yeah.